Hey team, welcome back to a very exciting episode of the Intentional Agribusiness Leader podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jewell, founder of Thrive Today, host of the Intentional Agribusiness Leader podcast, and I'm joined by Clark Bell today, who's the CEO. Welcome to our CEO season. Super glad to have you on here. Clark Bell with Nano-Yield out there in Utah. Got the Utah Utes helmet on the,
Right
in the
there.
back over there. There
Let's
we
go.
go. Love
Let's
it,
go.
man. Welcome. Thanks for being here, Clark.
Yeah, no problem, Mark. Mark, what's your alma mater?
University of Minnesota. Go
Oh,
Gophers.
no. Nice, nice. Well, we almost got into your conference, but we weren't good enough. So we'll take the Big 12 though. We're excited about that. So
That's good. That's
yeah.
good. Yeah, it's getting a little crowded in the Big Ten.
There's yeah, well, it should be what, the Big 26 now or whatever
Something.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got to go where the money is these days. You got to pay all these
Uh, that's
athletes.
how it goes. Yeah. All the LA teams, they kind of ruined it all for the Big Ten and what was the Pac-12. But we're not on here to talk about football though. But
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
could
Well,
do that flower if needed.
let's
So,
let's talk about leadership. Let's talk about intention.
love it.
Everybody gets the same question at the onset, Clark. So what does it mean for you to be intentional?
Yeah, intentional means being relentlessly focused on your purpose and
Hmm.
making sure that that purpose is going to manifest in life. That's the way that I think about intention.
I love it. Tell me about relentless. A lot of people say purpose. A lot of people say deliberate. A lot of people say knowing what you want and why you want it, and communicating well and being transparent and all those things. But you use the word relentless. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think my favorite story behind the word relentless is in the early days of Amazon when Jeff Bezos was kind of putting everything together. He wanted to call the business relentless.com. And if I'm not mistaken, they still own that domain to this day.
Interesting.
And their focus is being relentlessly focused on customer satisfaction. When you really think about Amazon, what's amazing about Amazon is the customer experience. No one can beat it. I mean, everybody has Prime. Everybody within 5 swipes and clicks can have basically anything they need in their life. I need Cole Haan ankle socks, dot, dot, dot. It's there and it's in my house within one day. It's absolutely magical what they've created, right? And the whole idea is that they were going to be relentless. They would not let anyone get in their way for them to make the mission of what is Amazon or what they want to call it, relentless.com. So the story behind it is apparently the shareholders thought relentless was too much of a strong word. I think when
Mm-hmm.
people think relentless, they think of like a CrossFit or like an MMA gym or something like
Right,
that.
right. Yeah.
But I think as a leader, especially me, like I'm a CEO co-founder, slightly different than like just a standard CEO. CEO co-founders, they really lead with vision and
Mm-hmm.
strategy. And hey, guys, we're going to the top of this mountain, and no one's going to get in our way. And for me, I'm relentlessly focused on our vision and purpose of what we want to accomplish at Nano-Yield to really disrupting the ag retail chain and helping farmers. And that's how I package that into being an
Mm-hmm.
intentional agribusiness leader.
Yeah, I love it. I love the word relentless, right? I mean, at the end of the day, especially if you're, well, I think this is true for just about anything, just about any role, anybody who's got a goal, something that they're
Yep.
after.
Yep.
There has to come a point. If success is going to become inevitable, there
Yeah.
has to come a point where you get to a point where there's just no other option but to win.
Yep.
Right. And then I don't really
100%.
see, I'm burning the boats. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going all in. I'm putting all my money in. I'm putting all my time in. I'm putting all my piece into this thing, at least for a season. Right. And I remember that moment in my business where it's just like, this is what I do now.
Yeah.
And there are no other options but to find a way to make it.
Well, and for the people that we serve, which is farmers, right? I
Mm.
mean, they are the biggest manifestation of they go all in.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
leave this many thousands of acres, and there's no other side hustle. I mean, no, it's like I got to plant this many seeds to get this much bushel out of it, and I'm gonna have to pay this much for a lease and these equipment payments and this much inputs, and that's it. And I've got 9 months to figure this out, and
Yeah.
whatever I can do in those 9 months for the X to the Y to the Z to get this much bushel is what you have to do. And so I think when you look at agribusiness in a whole, what I love about the industry is everybody has all the chips in, man. They do. We try to, look at our exposure and minimize risk as much as we can. But at the end of the day, like, we're in an industry that's solely dependent on, sun and rain and soil and, all these natural resources. So you really have to be beholden to that and just, pray and ask that, our Father will, provide us with a good outcome, and that, Mother Nature will give us what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a fantastic way to put it. And thanks for wrapping that around the farmer. I mean, because they are literally all in.
They're all in.
Completely dependent on a lot of external factors that they have no control over. Yep. And there really is, there's only one outcome. We got to feed people, right? Like, that's it. That's what's going to happen. So cool, man. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the founder co-founder relationship, if you would, for a minute, or how this works in your organization. So you're talking about leading vision and strategy. And so I envision somebody that's, bigger picture. We're breeding the culture of the place and making that happen. So I'm assuming on the other end of that, maybe there's somebody's got to handle detail and tactics. Yep. And so it's that rocket fuel analogy. So talk to me a little bit. How does that work inside your organization?
Yeah, I'm in my 10th year of the company. It took me 10 years of being essentially day-to-day leader to in November, where there was essentially a change in guard. Whereas our president, COO, Mark Slavens, took over essentially over the day-to-day, and he's supported by our chief financial officer, Josh Roberts, and our chief science officer, Landon Bunderson. And those are the three that are really, making sure that the fuel is in the rocket and it's going to get us to the next moon. For me as the CEO co-founder, I'm the one that's mapping how do we get it out of this galaxy into the next one, and who are the people that we're going to have to work with to make that happen. So that's kind of the analogy I think I'd like to put it there.
Yeah.
It would have been impossible for me in the early stages of the company to operate in the function that I do now. I had to be hands-on. I had to be on the road 250 days a year, and I still am very involved in sales and B2B, and I'm on the road a lot. That's just part of what it's going to take. But that's essentially the change of what's taken with me. And I feel so blessed that I've got an amazing team, that I can trust, and I know they're going to make it happen. And also that they bought into, the vision of how we're going to get out of this galaxy with what we've done in Nano-Yield, and that I have, those key gentlemen making sure that happens. So.
It's such an important part of the journey in the growth stage of any business, right? Yep. That goes from the startup phase to the initial phases, where it's just like, I mean, it's a newborn, and then it's a toddler, right? And it's crawling and it's walking, and then we go through this sort of young adult phase, if you will, eventually. And at some point, I mean, it becomes too much for that original founder to really handle. I mean, we can't get our hands fully. I'm at that phase right now where I'm actively looking for that integrator to help allow me to not focus on all the details. How do you get to that? Or what were the signs for you that you're kind of approaching that point where it's like, man, if we were to add in a couple of people and hand off some of these responsibilities, and humble myself a little bit, I can't take care of all of it, but this is going to help us grow significantly when we do it. What were the growth signs for you and your business there?
So we've grown by 50 to 100% year over year. I think we'll be on our 7th year in a row. So I think it makes us one of the fastest growing agribusiness companies. We were on the Inc. 5000 last year. I think we were the only one that was. So we might be the fastest growing ag input company in the United States. And so coupled with growth is very expensive. And not just from a capital standpoint, it's very expensive from a standpoint of time. And the person that suffers the most from that time output generally is the founder, is the CEO that's leading that. And so I just saw the time suck of what was happening in my business and some of the things that I was missing out with my kids. I've got a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 10, an 8-year-old, and 6. And when my 8-year-old was 3, I was on the road, I think 277 days that year. I basically missed a lot of him being a 3-year-old. And I will always have that regret. but I'm not going to miss much more of my kids moving, their key things. Will I probably do 50 to 100 days on the road this year? I totally will, Mark. That's just part of the gig. But I will be there available for those main things. So for me, a big part of changing and making sure I have that integrator idea and, kind of that, that like what Dan Sullivan says, who, not how, for me to really put that all together is I had to find somebody that had the skill set that complemented what I was doing and was better at those specific things. And that wasn't just one person, it was a myriad of people, but I had to find that really good leader. And that was with Mark Slavens, of course, and then with Josh Lennon to support him, and then our VPs underneath them. So I think the first thing is you need to reflect on your personal life, how you're growing this company, how that's working in your personal life. The second part of it is, your business has to be able to support that I can hire somebody like Mark, who has a PhD from Cornell. I mean, he's not just a guy that walks off the street. I mean, he's a minted guy that was working at Scott's Miracle-Gro, which is a $5 billion market cap company, that he would want to come to a company of our size. So you have to be able to afford them, give them the opportunities that makes them excited about it. And I would just say to any, visionary entrepreneur type like myself, you'd be amazed how many people are out there that are way better at managing people than you are. But there aren't much people that are better at being an entrepreneur than I am, right? And so a lot of entrepreneurs, they suffer that they want to do everything, and you're just getting in your way, and you got to get out of your way. Find people that are way better at these things than you are, and then just really lean into making your strengths super strengths and superpowers.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the reason I asked you to go down that path a little bit with me, Clark, is because I'm envisioning right as we record this, somebody from maybe one of the 120 or whatever biological startups that's in the ag industry right now.
A lot of them. Yep.
One of the ag tech startups, or, I'm thinking about the people who I hope this is hitting their earbuds and their truck speakers right now, or if you know somebody that's in that role, please share this to them. Get this in their earbuds to hear from somebody who has got past that threshold now of being the guy or the gal, the person in charge of this thing, and now bringing people who are talented and potentially just better than I am or better than you are at these certain things, right? Yep. So that we can actually blow the lid off this thing and take it where it can go. Because I do see a lot of these guys thinking, I'm going to keep running it. I'm going to keep doing it. Nobody can be as passionate about this as I am. I don't want to let go. Totally. And stunt it, and they rob others of opportunity. Yep. They probably never are going to get the exit that they could.
Yep.
Right. There's so many things that they're going to miss out on because they didn't have a big enough vision to realize, like, you may not be the one who ultimately leads this thing. Right. At the end of at the end of it. So,
I mean, there's a CEO focus group I'm a part of in Utah. And one of the guys that's in the group, he sold this company for, I think it was $1.2 billion. And when you asked him I've asked him, what was the most satisfying thing about that? And this guy's he's probably worth like 300 to 500 million if I had to guess. The most satisfying thing for him in the exit is that they created 57 millionaires overnight, just like that. So isn't that amazing? And I'm really proud of, how many people we pay, 6-figure salaries at our company. But really what I want to be able to create is opportunities for the people to, have an amazing career, and they were part of building a great company, and they had, some type of, cool fiscal opportunity that went their way. Nano-Yield, we probably won't be able to create 50 millionaires at the sell of our company. We, just the size and the metrics of the industry, that probably just won't happen. Right. But can we create, a lifestyle that really impacts our entrepreneurs and their families? That's what I get excited about. And, kind of going back to, when you're the visionary CEO, there's really, in my opinion, there's 3 things you need to do well. And I went through the CEO Excellence course, and I'm part of Strategic Coach and other CEO focus groups. And basically all of them kind of own in on these 3 things. The first is, 1, you have to have a really good strategy and vision that you set for the company. You have to be very good at what you've done there. And from about 2017 on, we've basically had the same strategy and vision what we're doing at Nano-Yield, and that's why we've attracted the great talent, have the amazing people here. The next thing that you have to do is, set the strategy and vision, is you have to build the team. And that's the hardest part, is making sure that the strategy and vision is exciting, and also that you're going to have the team set with amazing people. And I'm super fortunate that I built the team with some great people. And then we found other people that they've brought in, and it's just kind of really snowballed. And then the third thing that you have to do is make big deals. That's really what it comes down to. If you're a CEO and you don't like making deals, you maybe should be a CEO, because people like to make deals with the CEO. We inked a big deal with DCM Shriram, publicly traded company in India last year. There's no way they would have signed the deal if I wouldn't have been there. Like they want to deal with the CEO, right? And so I really think at the end of the day, and one of my mentors really defined this for me, and I've just seen it more and more again through different groups that I'm a part of. It comes down to those three metrics, strategy, vision, build a team, make big deals. Everything else, get out of the way and put the right people in the right seats on the bus to make it happen.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I just want to summarize the 3 points. Number one, strategy and vision. Set the strategy, cast the vision. Number two, build a team around you that supports that. And number three, make big deals. You got to get up. Nothing. Somebody once told me nobody can sell like the CEO.
They can't. And I love selling. I love deal making. I'm literally getting my license plate to be deal maker. Mark, I just ordered it. I love the art of the deal, man. And so, the CEO, they shouldn't be like the top sales rep, but they should be the best sales rep, or they should be the best, person that sets the sales personality of the organization, no doubt.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to have process behind as you scale out a sales organization, obviously to have some sort of, reportability or deal size, where maybe you come in on, maybe I don't get in on all the $10,000 deals, but man, if it's north of 25, if it's north of 50 or 100 or $1 million or whatever your threshold is, right? You better believe I'm going to be getting on a plane to go do that deal if that's what's required.
Nailed it.
And that rallies your salespeople too. I know I've found this within some of our clients where unfortunately, they just haven't seen anybody from a leadership role out there, whether it's at the farm gate or at the retail level or whatever, helping them, ink some of these deals. And that's when you start to have that sort of field force versus head shed conflict, right? Yeah. That starts to creep into the organization. So
no doubt. Well, that's the other thing, is you really have to reflect and make sure that you're grounded within your company and you're talking to the key people and also the people that might be struggling. PIP is a 4-letter word in agribusiness. Nobody likes being placed on PIP. But the thing about if you are placed on PIP is, we want to improve your performance, and let's collaborate and do that together. And if the CEO is not doing that with that specific person, that's a problem. That if you're a company that's maybe under 100 employees, that the CEO is not involved in that capacity, definitely reflect on those things there.
You bet, man. Well, this has been already super fantastic. I want to talk a little bit about your book, if you would. I know you got this going into the publishing phase. I know what that looks like because my wife is going through that right now with her book, finishing the final edits and trying to get the publishers and all that good stuff to go with it. So, tell us a little bit about the about purpose leadership and what this is about.
Yeah. So I wrote a book called Purpose Leadership. It's the tag is Redefine Leadership, Make an Impact. The book is essentially written for leaders of companies or entrepreneurs or nonprofits that have already tasted some success in life. They're maybe not necessarily worrying about paycheck to paycheck. They go on their vacations. They've got great families, and they're kind of looking at what's next. And what I think what I see with most leaders in this capacity is what's next for them is you really need to find out who are the people that you want to serve in life. And so for me, the people that I want to serve in life are who my parents are. My father's a farmer. My mom's a school teacher, right? And so I'm the president of the Jordan Education Foundation. We're the Education Foundation. That's the fundraising arm of the school district that my kids are involved with. And for the next 2 years, I'll be involved as the president to make sure that every kid in Jordan School District, if they're cold, we're going to get them a coat. If they don't have a tablet, we're going to make sure they have that. Just really being part of a group like that is super impactful and really helps you just be aware of your community surroundings. And then vice versa, my other purpose is helping farmers. I own a sod farm. I own an agribusiness company that sells inputs to sod farms or to farms that helps so that their inputs work better. That's what Nano-Yield essentially does.
Yeah.
And I think everyone needs to go through that journey of figuring out how they can do that. So kind of the pathway of purpose leadership is first, you have to go through what I call in my book, YLJ, your life journey. Everybody has something unique that they've gone through that makes them different from everybody else. Everybody has that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you had a speech impediment when you were younger. Maybe your, mother died of alcoholism when you were younger. All these things shape you to be the person that you are. That's very unique. The next thing that you have to do is you have to find out your invisible ingredients. What makes you really special and different from everyone else in the world, right? And there's a number of different ways you can go through to find out, Cliff's strengths finders and things like that. But most people, if you ask the 10 people that you spend the most time with, what's different about me and what makes me special, you might be surprised by what they tell you about yourself. And everyone should do that in their life. And the next thing is defining the way that you want to lead with purpose, which is just like you defining your intent, Mark. If that's essentially the three facets of the book that we go through and help people put that together. I didn't write the book to become a coach. I didn't write the book to, make millions. It had just been bottled up in my mind. And, it's like 200 pages and we'll see where it goes. It was a cathartic experience for me to go through and kind of showcase the struggles that I had with building Nano-Yield to where we are now and reflecting on my journey, and for me to define those three aspects of what is purpose leadership.
Perfect. I love it, man. I look forward to picking up a copy and
Thank you.
and reading this thing and getting a hold of it. So I assume whenever it does come out, we'll be able to. Do you have any sort of time frame on that? I assume somewhere in 2020, hopefully.
March, April. So it's January 24, depending on how long the publishers go. I'm down to 2. It should be available Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Hopefully I can just have it at one airport bookstore. If I can do that, Mark, I'll just feel like
dream come true,
I'm the
right
king of the world. Even if they just put it out for one day, just for me, Mark. If they could do that, that would just be awesome.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's good. I think anybody who aspires to write or to have their thoughts put into something with two, with a front cover and a back cover, and maybe somebody to write the forward. With dreams of walking through an airport and seeing it on a bookshelf in there. My wife and I talk a lot about that as it pertains to her book, which is coming out. So,
Cool.
So that was really cool. What I'm curious about. So, what was your life journey? There had to be a big moment in there somewhere, something for you that really spurred that on. So, I'm curious if you're willing to share.
Yeah. So, my YLJ is a compilation. Being a depressed suburban teenage kid, getting involved like really in punk rock and snowboarding. And even though those are things I'm really passionate about, they weren't the best environments for me to go be a part of, but they really shaped me about kind of having my punk rock mentality that I have brought into agriculture. Right. And so, it's a compilation of that. And then learning about agribusiness in my family's sod farm, and then launching this technology, and then finding out the impact of what this technology could do to make the world, make it a better place, right? Which I think, for the most part, everybody wants to leave the world a better place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the kind of the way that I had the foundations of me defining YLG, your life journey, was there was a moment when we were building our mobile laboratory, which was which was the original way that we brought nanotechnology to our farmers. We were in a bit of a legal turmoil. My 2 other co-founders, they had to deal with that. And me, someone that doesn't have like any engineering background, I was responsible for making sure this mobile laboratory which had like 260 moving parts could be to a farm within a week, and we could make them nano fertilizer. And it was kind of like I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, but I am going to figure this out and lead this. And so
Right.
that was kind of the foundation of when I really discovered my invisible ingredients and how I wanted to lead with purpose through that whole journey. And that's kind of where it began. And then from there, it's been a number of different, tough circumstances, tough negotiations, tough organizational changes, things of that nature that I had to go through within Nano-Yield. But yeah, I mean, this company, without being involved in it, I would not have experienced what I've done, and I'm tremendously grateful for it. I got the scars to show, right? I've got the gray hairs, but at the age of 40, I've just been blessed with tremendous opportunities because of this company.
Yeah.
And again, I've just been relentless at defining my purpose and leading with intent to magnify what my calling is in life. And that's one, to help school teachers and kids in public school. And then secondly, to help farmers make an impact on their land so that they can be more profitable.
Love it, man. Well, fantastic. And thank you for sharing that and going deep with that, because everybody
Yep.
needs to understand that. And there's a lot of different ways to put this, but in some ways, your mess is your message.
Yeah.
One of my coaches, Rory Vaden, says you're most powerfully positioned to help the person you once were.
I like that a
Right?
lot.
You're most
Yeah, I like
powerfully
that. That's
positioned to help the
that's
person you
really
once
deep in that, and that's great. That's great.
Mm-hmm. In our work, the reason I created an entire podcast, I've been studying now for exactly 1 year as of the day that we're recording this. I've studied
Wow, cool.
the word intention every day for 1 year since I decided to go deep on this one word and literally build an entire body of work that
Yeah.
will not only be a podcast, but it will be books, and it will be a keynote, and it's all the things that are a part of the work that we're doing. Our flagship program for years has been the Thriving Leader. That remains. That is still our flagship. Everybody starts here kind of thing. Everybody goes through that, but now they'll have access to the Intentional Leader come back half of 2024.
That's awesome.
That comes from a place of where maybe in life I wasn't so intentional,
Yeah.
right? Like I had to discover that was a real thing. What we discovered is that all the times in life that that I've become the most resentful is
Yeah.
always because of the times in life I've been the least intentional.
Yeah, it's so true. And when you
Mm.
really look at our society, and it's a tough go right now. There's a lot going on.
Can be,
This
yeah.
upcoming election, just the disparity of income in the United States, and just where
Mm-hmm.
the confusion since the pandemic and everything we're dealing with there. But when people really discover who they want to be and how they're going to do it, um, again, then all you need is rocket fuel. And that
Yeah.
rocket fuel can come from people, relationships, your vision, right? Anybody can do this.
Perfect. Fantastic way to bring it in for landing, man. Thank you for doing this. This has been fantastic. Clark, any last thoughts that you'd want to share, or how do we find Nano-Yield?
Yeah. Please go to our website, nano-yield.com, nano-yield.com, or visit aquayield.com or nanocoat. Coat is COT.com to learn about our two flagship technologies that are disrupting agribusiness. Our promise with our company Nano-Yield is there's always at least a 3-to-1 ROI when you use our technology. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Always works. People have great results, and we're really excited about the bright future of bringing nanotechnology to agriculture throughout the world. Yeah, check me out on LinkedIn. I post on there sparingly, but happy to connect with you,
You
with
bet.
anyone on there from the agribusiness world. And again, any way that I can help people get excited about their future in agribusiness is what I'm here to do, Mark. And it was a pleasure to come on the show and hopefully do that for some people.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, man.